Another tip that I really Spartacus, please stop licking yourself during my video. Hey guys, Sarah here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to kind of like a very different video for my channel, but I feel like it still definitely fits within my fashion and lifestyle niche. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing the tips and tricks that I use to be able to save up for my first luxury designer bag. I have been wanting a designer bag for so long, and to be honest, I am really not the saving type. So this video, I would say, is dedicated to those of you out there who are like me, where you just have a hard time saving. It's not within your blood, you're a natural spender, and saving is kind of a struggle for you. So I'm gonna be going through 5 tips that I use to be able to save up for my YSL bag. This is it right here. Just in case you haven't been around, this is her. This one is the Yves Saint Laurent small Lulu bag, and this one does retail for, I believe, $2,050, somewhere in that range. So it's not really a bag that I could just easily decide, hey, I'm gonna buy it on a whim. This definitely took a lot of planning for me, so I wanna share what I did to be able to get myself to that goal so that I could purchase this for myself. But before we jump into it, I wanna welcome you if you're new to my channel. I create content on fashion, beauty, and lifestyle. I would love it if you would hit that red subscribe button down below and hit that bell next to it so you get notified of anytime I have a new video. And also too, please don't forget to like this video and leave a comment. Let me know what tip or trick you think would be the most helpful, or let me know if you have some other tips or tricks that you practice whenever you are saving up for a splurge purchase that you think would be helpful for anyone else watching this video. But for right now, we'll go ahead and get into it. I had posted on my community page not that long ago asking if you guys wanted a video of how I was able to save up for my designer bag. I had gotten actually a couple of questions from DMs on Instagram and stuff of people asking like how I was able to sign up for it, because honestly, financially, I'm not at that point where I could easily drop $2,000 in a bag and not think anything of it. That is a huge chunk of change as far as what I'm making. So it did take careful planning and a lot of self-control to be able to not touch that money so that I could buy my bag. If you are someone who is able to purchase designer things without even thinking about it, kudos for you, girl. You go. Honestly, I would love to be at that level because you are killing the game and you are able to just make those purchases, and I am jealous. But for those of us who are in a position where we can't afford it, it just takes a little bit more planning. I hope that these tips will help you out. Hey, future me here. I was editing this video and I realized I just wanted to put in a couple of really quick disclaimers. The first thing is, for these saving tips and tricks, you can obviously use them to save up for whatever you might need. This does not have to apply just to a designer bag. And my second disclaimer is that if you are someone who doesn't really approve of designer purchases, it's not your thing, just know I completely respect your point of view and your right to have that point of view. So I just request that you have that same courtesy for me and anyone else who's watching this hoping to make a luxury purchase. We're all allowed to have different priorities in our life and spend our hard-earned money however we please. So I just request that you please be respectful of that. And I totally understand if this video is not for you just because of the designer topic and you choose to exit out now. No hard feelings at all. And sorry, one more really quick disclaimer is too that these are just like tips and tricks that specifically worked for me. They may not work for everybody's lifestyle, so take it with a grain of salt. Do your own research and figure out whatever techniques work best for you and for your lifestyle. This video is just to be more informative and just put those suggestions and tips out there in case it may help out someone who's watching it, because I for sure am by no means a financial expert. As you guys will hear me say many times in this video, I am a natural spender, so I just wanted to share my ways that I was able to fight against those natural tendencies just from my perspective as an amateur saver. So the first one that I have is probably a very obvious one, but not everyone does it, and it wasn't something that I consistently did until I knew I was going to buy this bag. But the very first thing I would say is to make a budget. Having a budget is such a useful tool whenever you're trying to set money aside for something, for obvious reasons, as far as like making sure that you have enough money left over for all of your monthly expenses and stuff. I personally like to make my budget per paycheck. That's how I like to break it down. Once money comes in, I want to have that money already budgeted out so that I know exactly how I'm going to spend it. So within my budget, what I make sure to do whenever I'm saving for something like this is I make it its own specific budget. I don't loop it into like my big savings budget and decide that I'm going to take it out later. The way that things work best for me is that my savings budget needs to be set aside for emergencies and stuff like that and shouldn't be used for my splurge purchases. If you have a habit of spending a lot, putting your splurge purchase as a different line item in your budget is really going to help out because of a few different things. First off, month by month, you'll be able to see that budget grow and grow and grow until you eventually hit your goal and you know exactly what that that's going to. It's not like when you're in a savings mode where you're putting money away into your savings and like your car comes up and you know you're gonna have to take out of that savings. This budget for your splurge purchase is set, and that is the only thing that's gonna be allocated for. Now, obviously, if you run into something where you absolutely need to use that money for something else, you definitely should, because at the end of the day, a splurge purchase like a designer bag is just a material thing. So, you know, if it has to do with your health or well-being or your family or friends' health and well-being, leave that up to you if you want to dig into that splurge purchase budget, because there's something else more important that came up in your life that really truly needs that money. And I like to calculate how much I'm putting that budget in a couple of different ways. If I don't have a set timeline of when I want to buy that bag, I will decide how much I can pull out of my monthly budget and then set that aside consistently every month. Or if I am on a timeline, like specifically for this bag, I had wanted to buy it on my birthday. I looked at the date that I was going to start saving and the date when I needed the money by, and then I divided by there and adjusted as I went along. Like if there was 1 month where I had an extra bill so I couldn't put as much in towards my purse budget, I would adjust it for the next paycheck to make up for that. Also, with either way you plan to do that, I would say to always plan to have that money already saved up about a month out from when you want to make that purchase, just so that way you can allow for any of those like surprise financial situations where you may not be able to save up as much in that month as you thought you were going to be able to. My second tip still has to do with the budgeting thing, but it is a psychological thing for those of us who have a spending mindset. When you put that money aside, in your head, consider that spent. Think of it as your purse is on layaway and you're already paying money to that brand to have that bag on layaway. That way in your head, you know that that money can't be touched. As far as you know, it's out the door. And another helpful thing with that is to take that money out of the equation early. The second that your paycheck hits your bank account, take that money out, put it wherever you need to put it, and don't touch it. Subtract that money right away, so when you're dealing with your monthly expenses, that money has already been accounted for and it's separated and saved elsewhere. And a great way to ensure that you are separating out that money is my third tip, which is to take the cash out of your bank account. That one helped me out so much, because if that money was still sitting in my bank account in a fund that I could see, I would end up having more of a tendency to think like, oh, you know, if I need an extra $50 or something, I can pull it out of there. I can easily transfer it over. Versus when I took that budget out and cashed it out, it was gone. I couldn't see it. For me, I put it in an envelope and I put it away in a safe place that I don't access very often, but I knew exactly where that money was at all times. Also too, the great thing about taking out cash and setting it to the side is that if you do get tempted to pull out money from that fund, you are physically taking the cash out, and actually seeing that act of pulling that money out of that fund will actually make you think twice about whether or not you should be using that money. Another tip that I really liked using was manifesting having that bag. Whenever I talked about that bag, I talked to people about it as if it was an absolute. I would say things like, when I have my YSL bag in 2 months, or once I get my YSL bag on my birthday. That way in my head, I was training myself to know that that was gonna happen no matter what, and it kept reinforcing that reminder that I needed to make sure that I was saving for it, because it had already been decided that I was getting that bag on a specific date. And my last tip, I think, is actually one of the most helpful ones as far as getting me to save, even though I have a very spendy personality. It was actually leaving constant reminders for myself that I was saving up for this bag. For example, on my phone, the background at the time had been set to a picture of the bag like this one. That way, every single time I opened up my phone, I saw that and it reminded me that I needed to save for it. I would say the phone trick works super well, especially for me, because I actually keep my wallet on the back of my phone. I don't have it on right now, but usually I have a pop wallet right there. And so anytime I went to go grab my card to make an online purchase or something, I would grab my phone, my screen would light up from the motion, and I would see the bag on the front, and it would really make me think, do I really need to purchase the thing that I'm gonna purchase, or could I use that money instead towards my bag? So that was a really good tool for me. Also too, on the envelope that I used to save up the cash for my bag, I put a picture of the bag on the front, so that anytime I might be tempted to pull that cash out of that envelope, I saw the bag on the front of it, and I really had to think about, how much do I want a new pair of shoes versus how much do I want this bag? And more often than not, it definitely made me rethink my purchase, and most of the time I would end up just not touching the money and find somewhere else in my budget for the purchase I wanted, or just skip it altogether. All right, you guys, well, that is gonna be it for this video. Those are all of my tips and tricks for how I was able to save up for my luxury designer bag, even though I am a natural spender. If you are like me, I hope that this video helps you out for anything that you're looking to save up for. Maybe you're saving up for a car or a house or a pet, but whatever it is, I hope that this video helps you out. And if it did, if you enjoyed this video, if you found some tips helpful, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Helps out my channel and my videos so much. Also, leave a comment down below of some of your tips and tricks. Don't forget to subscribe, and I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.